Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ohio State Primetime Live, presented by FanDuel. Here at Ohio State, the voice of college football. I'm your host, as always, on a Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Garrison Gaddy. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, check out our awesome website at www.vocfb.com, where you can check out all the awesome articles our writers give to you throughout the week, keeping you up to date with everything that's going around in the greater landscape of college football. Well, everybody, a lot to talk about today. Well, not so much to talk about today, but I have a lot of things that I want to cover over, spend some time on, whether a lot of it has to do with recruiting. Also want to talk, what we're going to start with tonight has to do with the defense and how can it progress? How will it regress? You know, a lot of the expectations of what we see or what we are going to see out of this year's defense in 2026 and more. Well, before we do that, everyone, hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone's having a good week. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I took some time up north. I did some snowboarding, did some celebrating with some friends and family. So that was always a good time. But let's get started. So first, everybody, what I want to talk about is the expectations of this year's defense coming up in 2026 and what Matt Patricia had to say about it. Now, for me personally, let me start off with saying this. My expectations for defenses, or just in terms of teams, they waver. They go up and down. I'm very even killer. You all know that. Blue Wolverine was gone on. He says, long time no see. Have a good stream. Appreciate you, man. One of the good friends here at the network. But my expectations for this year's defense, I'm not expecting what I saw last year. Now, do I believe that this defense can be just as good? Maybe so. There's nothing today that tells me that can happen, right? But what I do think is that the defense will still be very, very good. It might have a little bit of adjustment period simply because we have new players on the team and they have to be what you do on defense in practice reps are nowhere near what you're going to do in game reps, right? So let's get to this here and let's talk about what Matt Patricia had to say. So first he says, in terms of his first year at Ohio State, he said, it was unbelievable for me. It's been a minute since I've been in college football. And that game day experience, that game day atmosphere, the shoe our fans, that was amazing, you know, to go out there against Texas and just have the support, the energy, and how can you not love it? And right there, you know, that's been one of the biggest reasons why I've been so steadfast on saying I don't believe Matt Patricia is going anywhere. I have no intentions on even seeing that post come alive. I think that Matt Patricia, and you saw early on in his interviews at Ohio State, he's very comfortable, I think, with his career in the NFL and is looking for a new venture. A lot of guys like that who are actual geniuses as he is, but guys who are very high accomplished, you know, they seek the new mountain to climb and to topple over, right? And I think that when you listen to Matt Patricia, it sounds like that's something that he wants to do. But on top of that, you hear the way he talks about being around the young men on the team and being able to mold them and groom them into to being men, and then also trying to help them out in their NFL, I'll say in their football future. And I think that, you know, for him being an NFL guy for all but 1 year of his career, well, 2 years now of his career, 1 year at Syracuse and last year at Ohio State, I think for him, he truly enjoys helping these guys get to the next level. I've said plenty of times when I first saw Matt Patricia get to Ohio State, the first thing I did was look at his appearance. Okay. And some people may think that's crazy, but that's what I did because I thought that his appearance, in terms of him getting a little bit skinnier, in terms of him cutting the beard, the hat forward, that shows growth, right? And whether it be external and then also internal. Also, I mean, I always say, if you look good, you feel good. And then on top of that, I saw the way he embraced the players and the way he talked to them, and I saw the way he would talk about recruiting. I saw how early out he was trying to get on recruiting. as the DC at Ohio State. And as the DC, his job is not always going to be recruiting. That is not his job to do. He has guys for that. But to see him want to be around it, to see him to want to be, to basically engulf himself in the college football game. And then when I read things like this, and also, I mean, when they talked about the contracts and we talked the contract and we talked about this about a month ago or so, I believe, they said that in there, he wasn't asking for any extraordinary things. He wasn't being over the top with it, right? And I think a guy that does that shows that, hey, I want to be here in every way I can. I'm willing to, whether I don't think he's taking a pay cut. He definitely got a pay raise after last season on the new contract of whenever that comes out. But I think that when you do things of that manner, you show that you want to be where you are. And I think Matt Patricia definitely does want to be at Ohio State. He also says here, there we go. He says, just do everything we in terms of with his or the actual good defense looks like. He says, just do everything we can to try and to build the defense again. It'll be another new set of players out there, just like last year. But I'm excited to see those young guys. I can't wait to get them out on the field and in front of our group and go and have some success, hopefully. And again, when you read that, when you hear that, that doesn't sound like a guy that's getting ready to ship out of Ohio State and take another NFL job. I don't get that from reading that. Again, I'm going to read that one line again, because that's right there is exactly why I feel the way I feel. He said it'll be another new set of players, and just like last year, but I'm excited about those guys, and I can't wait to get them out on the field. The only way that he's going to get those guys on the field is if he goes in scarlet and gray practice, coach practice uniform, and is the one doing it. And so again, I don't think there's anything to worry about Matt Patricia leaving. But now, like, let's further the conversation back to where we were when that comes to the expectations of this defense. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this later in the show, because I had posted the other day or earlier today my stock up and stock down for each position group, each position unit, and based off last year, and a little bit based off of what I thought. Not based off last year, but based off what I thought was going to come into the season, or what could have come into the season for 2026. But so my expectations for this defense are not to do what they did last year. Because I think that's not being realistic. That's not living in the real world. I think that when you look at this year's defense and you say, okay, what's the expectations? What do I think they're going to do? Who do I think progresses? Now, again, me personally, I give players the benefit of the doubt. As far as I'm concerned, they're going to progress in the field until I see otherwise. But my expectations for this team are be top 15, at the worst, be top 20. I expect a few guys in there to take leaps. Guys like Edric Houston, I expect to take leaps on this defense. And again, we're going to talk about this more later in the show. But guys like Edric, guys like Jermaine, guys like Devin Sanchez, those are guys on this team. And you know what? Zion Grady, Epi, I expect those guys to take big jumps, because if they don't, this defense is not going to be what Matt Patricia, Ryan Day, or any of us as fans want it to be. But with that being said, I think, for the defense, I think people should keep their expectations tempered. What you can't do is go into this season thinking that we're about to go out there and put together another top 3, top 5 defense. That year in and year out for a lot of teams, it changes, and that has been that way for Ohio State. At least not over the last few years. But I mean, I want to look at this real quick, because I want to see over the last few years for Ohio State, like, how many points is this team giving up? And basically, what I'm going to do this by, we're going to start from 2023 because I think that's kind of like when our defense kind of submerged into being good again. And I think that they're like top 12, maybe top 10 that year in 2023. They actually might have been top 10. But let's see. There we go. Go to game logs. So in 2023, Ohio State gave up 146 points. That's what they did last year. Or in 2023, only gave up. No, I'm not. Well, they not only they gave up 18. Okay, that's total offense. That's total offense. We're looking at the wrong spot. They got 1,500 yards that season. So rushing not that great, but only 6 rushing touchdowns, and quarterbacks only threw for 52.7%. So like they were really good that year. Now let's go to 2024. All right. So in 2024, the defense gave up more points. They gave up 206. Quarterbacks had 6% completion percentage. We give up more rush yards, more touchdowns. And I mean, in 2024, we all know Ohio State had a really good defense that season. A really good defense. Now, let's go on to 2025. This past season, they gave up 130 points over the season. Quarterbacks only throw 60%. Mind you, in 2023, they threw 52. Gave it 1,200, just over 1,200 rushing yards, 2.9 to carry, 5 touchdowns. So on any given year over the last few years, Ohio State has gotten better, except for in some categories. Like in 2024, they gave up more points than they did in 2023. In 2023, they were better against quarterbacks than they were in 2024 or 2025. So again, it's an even flow in this, but I do think at the end of the year, Ohio State has a really good chance of being one of the best defenses in the country. I think all right, no, we're gonna talk more about next in the later show again, like I said. But again, I think Ohio State's gonna be fine. I think that the defense is something for everyone to look forward to, and the reason is because we have Matt Patricia. We bring back some vital parts on this team, and we bring back the whole coaching staff in terms of on defense in general. So there's that. But again, everyone, yeah, don't stress. There is no reason to stress about this Ohio State defense in the over 2026. I think these guys are going to be just damn good. Again, at the worst, top 15, top 20. Then I think that's a problem. Even though like top 20, top 25, if you are that in a statistical category, then you are relatively good. You are actually a good team when it comes to that aspect and that specific or respective stat. But before we continue, everybody, quick message here from the voice of college football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football. And let's discuss how you also can reach your target market. Check out the experience of our current partners, that being Win Agency and our friends over at FanDuel, posted here on the screen. And just like them, we are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@vocfb.com today. All right, well, let's continue with the show, everyone. Next here, I want to talk about some recruits that Ohio State is very close to getting. A couple young guys, high school players, dropped their top 4 or their top 6, and Ohio State, as they are every year, is mentioned in a lot of those. The first one we're going to start out with is Jimmy Callis. Now, Jimmy Callis, really good player. Really good player, and it's something that you guys are going to see right here. I'm going to pull his highlights up for him so you guys can see him, because it's not often. First off, it's just not often you get to see an offensive lineman's their highlight tape, right? It's that doesn't usually happen, or because more times than not, that's just something that you're not going to see. That's something that they don't show. Oh, looks like we're gonna have to watch this little commercial real quick. It starts in 8 seconds. But again, he's somebody that you definitely want to keep your eye on for Ohio State. So Jimmy Callis, 6'6", 280-pound offensive lineman, offensive tackle specifically, out of Central Catholic in Pittsburgh, PA. He's the number 24 offensive tackle in the composite, 247th nationally, so really good player, blue chip 4-star kid. Right now, he's gotten down to LSU, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Clemson, and Miami. And of course, a lot of those teams you see right there, especially got places like UGA, places like Texas and Miami. Those are programs that have continuously been pumping out players over the last few years on the offensive line. And so for Ohio State to be in this battle right now, I mean, again, he's a PA kid, so he's not too far away from where Ohio State is. He's a Midwest guy. Well, I mean, Pittsburgh technically is more East Coast than it is Midwest, but you get the point. This is someone I would really like for Ohio State to get. He's big, he's fast. As you see, he runs with a lot. He blocks with a lot of violence, and that's what you want to see. You want at this level in high school when you have that type of size on you and you have that type of strength on you, especially in the offensive line and also in the defensive line. You want to see that player be dominant. You want to see him be physical. You want to see him get guys out of the way. And Jimmy Callis is definitely someone you see do that. Now, where's Ohio State rank right now in this? Jimmy Callis said there's two teams that really stick out to him. And so at this point, you kind of really just want to hope that one of those is Ohio State right now. And also, I mean, just doing like until this past season, I would say with Tyler Bowen, Ohio State has struggled with when it comes to offensive line recruiting. We would get, that one big guy, like big one, but that usually would come from a kid that was in state. But under Tyler Bowen, we've seen the offensive line recruiting pick up, especially in the state of Ohio. And so right here, I think this is a guy that Tyler Bowen really wants. I mean, Tyler Bowen hasn't just been offering guys willy-nilly. He picks the guys that he wants. He knows the offensive line. He knows the run game. He picks guys that he thinks can go out there and not just play at Ohio State, but do the job at Ohio State. So, again, Jimmy Callis, again, 6 schools, LSU, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Clemson, and Miami. So, yeah, this could be a big get for Ohio State. This could be a big get. Now, next, we are going to go to Taylon Mayo. Now, again, I don't know why these commercials are showing again. I had these propped up, but for those who do not know, Taylon Mayo, 6'3.5", 185-pound corner out of Louisville, Texas high school. Number 12 corner in his class, composite, 135th in the nation, number 20 player in the state of Texas. Again, this is another type of guy at Ohio that when you look at him, you look at his frame and you look at the physicals that he has. This is somebody that, here, I'll put it this way. So for Coach Walton, a lot of people have been very critical of him lately, skeptical, maybe you could even say, just in terms of recruiting and development. Now, I think it's a little bit insane for people to go that far. I won't say insane. Because then it's just discrediting anything the way somebody feels, but I think it's a little bit overblown. With that being said, there isn't some smoke to it. I think when you have a kid like this who clearly is interested in Ohio State, and by the way, his final of 5, LSU again, us, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. So as you see right now, Ohio State's fighting all SEC schools for this kid. And I mean, that's a norm for Ohio State. As we know, Ohio State does go down there a lot, and a lot of kids in SEC country look at Ohio State as a premier, as if not the one of the top 3 premier places to go play college football. Excuse me. But and just a couple other things about this kid. Ran at 23.59 the 200 as a freshman. If you guys don't know anything about track, that's really fast as a freshman. I'll say it's decently fast as a freshman. So yeah, Taylor Mayo, and I mean when you watch this tape, and mind you, I mean this is corner's position I played in. A nice hit is a position I played in in college and on the D2 level. So this is a position I really really love next to running back. And I mean you see, I mean it's the height and the arm reach. He has those physical tools for a corner that you don't always get to see. Every corner, excuse me, every corner doesn't. All right, we're back. Every corner doesn't have the skill set that he has. My goodness, sorry about that. And so, if you can, for a kid like him, all you have to do now is just fine tune the skills. If you fine tune his skills with what he has, think about Will Johnson from the Wolverines. That's he's not Will Johnson coming out of high school, but that's what I'm talking about. When you have a skill, a physical skill set, it's not skill, physical set, like the length, like the arm reach, like the speed that he has, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for a kid like him. I think Tay Lin, with the right coaching and right tutelage at a place like Ohio State, I think he could be doggone special. Because I bet you after his senior season, he's going to be a top 100 player. And a lot of the reason is because for a lot of recruiting rankings, a lot of it has to do with the physical traits of the player. And I think if he goes through all these camps and goes crazy over the summer, maybe does 7-on-7, and on top of that has a great senior year, I think that, and also with his physical gifts, which is what a lot of kids get ranked so high for, he's gonna break the top 100. And I think if he does that, then if you're Ohio State, it's imperative that you lock down that recruitment. Okay, so the next player we are going to look at is Rashad Streets, the 6'4", 230-pound edge / defensive end. Another guy, another blue chip player that Ohio State, hey, put on your radar. He's already on your radar. He's one of the guys you had to go get. Now, Ohio State, I mean, mind you, Ohio State already has one of the best recruiting classes in the nation. But if you had a kid like this, a kid like Rashad Streets, you're getting a player. I mean, watch his first play. Look at that. Just boom. Can't get away from him. Can't get away from him. Forces the fumble. That right there, just I want to watch that again because I want you guys to see something. So when he's in his position, right here, it's gonna look like he's coming out of a slow start, but he's watching with he's just diagnosing the play, and he does it really fast for as slow as it looks. So when you watch this, look at that. He sees what's happening. He pushes through. Honestly, just bull rushes the guy, the tackle, gets right through him. Right here, you saw that quick acceleration at those first 3 steps. That quarterback knows he's in deep shit, and you can already see just like look at that space he already covered right there, and then right here, all that speed, you're not getting away from him. Rashad Streets is a special type of athlete, everybody. So again, 6'4", 230-pound defensive end / edge out of Millbrook High School. If you don't know who Millbrook is, go check out what Ohio State players just came out of there. In Raleigh, North Carolina. The number 8 edge in the country, composite number 66 in the nation, number 4 in the state of North Carolina. He's gotten down to his final 6 schools. They are Oregon, Ohio State, Florida State, North Carolina State, South Carolina, and Alabama. Now, again, when you watch him, you're going to see a lot of power. You're going to see a lot of explosion. The thing that I think is most impressive about Rashad Streets is his body composure and how he doesn't. When you're a bigger guy, right, and you have that type of likability, sometimes it can be difficult to control it. Not for him. And for him to do that at this age already is very impressive. I mean, when you watch him, right? Like, watch this play here. Now he's up on two. Look at that, boom! A lot of moves, swim, got to the quarterback. It's and again, when you watch guys in the trenches in high school, the one thing you're trying to focus on is, are you dominating whoever is across from you? When you watch Rashad Streets, that's what he does. And he's not playing low level football. That's not what he's doing. And honestly, over the last, I would say 3-4 years, North Carolina, they've had an uptick in their uptick. They've had an uptick in their recruiting out of the state. That's a fact. But yeah, it's just one of those guys. I think Larry Johnson definitely does want to get in his room. And simply because, I mean, when you look at right now for Ohio State, you don't want to have that continuously go in the portal. You want to continuously bring guys out of high school, because at the end of the day, high school recruiting is still the backbone and lifeblood of this sport we love called college football. So for him, I think you get a guy like him that, again, another guy that you can groom and turn into something great. He already has the physical assets. Again, those top 100 guys, they have that. After that, how do you refine them? Last season, 2024, 123 tackles, 35 and a half tackles for loss, 26 and a half sacks, a pass pickup, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and a safety. So, Rashad Streets, man, awesome player. Just an awesome player that you definitely want to hope that Ohio State can get and into this 2027 class. The next guy we're gonna watch, and sadly, he doesn't have his full highlights up yet. He only has the mid-season up on Huddle right now. But the guy we're gonna watch here is definitely one of the most coveted players in the country, and one of the most coveted players for Ohio State in this 2027 class. And that guy is Monsoon Sales. Without a question, a great player. Out of Indianapolis. I mean, when you watch him, he's going to remind you of the bigger receivers that Ohio State has had over the last few years, like in terms of just how he moves with his body, a Jeremiah, a Marvin Harris Jr. And also recently, you've seen Ryan Day go after these big receivers. And clearly, as of the portal, he's been going after more fast twitch, quick, speedy guys who can make people miss in space. But you still got to keep that outside threat at all times. So if you don't know who Monsoon Sales is, everybody, 6'5", 195-pound receiver out of Lawrence North. By the way, shout out to Lawrence North, man. I know a lot of guys that play football at Lawrence North over in Naptown, Indianapolis. Shout out to St. Francis football. I had a lot of guys on my team that played over there. Really good football program. Awesome football program over in Indianapolis. But number 2 composite wide receiver in the country, number 9 player overall, and of course the number 1 player in the state of Indiana. He has shortened his list of 4 schools. That is Miami, Alabama, Indiana, his home state school, and the Buckeyes. I'll tell you what. There's only for me. There's only one team. I think it's either Ohio State or Indiana in this. That's who I think are the 2 teams that lead in this. And for Ohio State in this recruitment, it's going to be tough in my estimate. In my opinion, it's going to be tough. And this is why. Curt Cignetti has shown that in his offense, he's going to get the wide receiver the ball. He also has Nick Marsh coming in this season with Hoover. And he's going to show he can get another big body receiver the ball in him too. And you would have to either play it, you would have to, if you're not going to play at Notre Dame, you have to leave the state of Indiana to go play big time football. You're not going to get that at Indiana mostly at all until now. And you still are not going to get that by, if you play at Purdue or Indiana State, right? or hell, Butler. So for him now, right, and you see a program like Indiana that has the NIL, that has the and the I guess you could say some kind of like the street cred now in college football, and you don't have to leave the state. That's tough. That's tough. And though Ohio State has been the creme de la creme of Ohio, of wide receiver play since the '80s, and even more so now, I think this is one of the players that I do not think Ohio State is going to get. If I'm wrong, I will be completely happy. I will be completely happy. But it's really hard to see Ohio State pulling this kid now with the emergence of the Indiana Hoosier program, and him not having to leave the state to go, catch the ball. So, like I said, it's gonna be a tough one. If this was just Alabama and Miami, I would probably come out here and sunshine pump. But that's not what I'm about to do about this kid. So that's that. But another primetime player that Ohio State is in the running for. I'll read this to you guys. This comes from Andrew Evans, one of the directors of scouting from 247. I'll read a couple of these. He says X wide receiver projection that can stretch defenses vertically with his speed and make contested grabs on the outside with his size. See, took the next step as a junior and was nothing but a mismatch. Shines as a move. This is huge. Shines as a move blocker on the perimeter and showcases plenty of physicality while doubling as a safety on defense. Yeah, like he's a top athlete. He's a football guy, and if Ohio State can get him, we're gonna come on here and give you a full hour of sunshine pumping. But right now, I just can't do that yet. Just can't do that yet about Monsoon Sales. But again, another top player Ohio State is looking at, a player that Ohio State definitely wants to bring into Columbus, and we'll definitely see if that is in the run, if that's in the future for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, the last player we are going to look at is another offensive player here, Quay Ford. Sadly, we don't have the junior highlights. He hasn't posted them yet, but I'm sure, hopefully, he does that soon here, because these are definitely guys that I want to showcase to everybody, the skills and assets that they have so far in their high school career. So, Quay Ford, we're gonna watch the sophomore highlights here. So Quay Ford, everybody, for those who do not know, he's a 6'5", 285-pound offensive tackle out of Texas High in Texarkana, Texas. He's number 10 offensive tackle in the country and number 92 player overall, and the composite number 12 player in the state of Texas. Again, another top 100 player Ohio State's trying to go after right here. He's shortened his list. His teams are SMU, Southern Methodist, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, and Florida. SMU is very interesting in this, and I would say so is Florida for his recruitment. But again, for this kid, he was Max Prep sophomore All-America second team selection on the offensive line in his sophomore season. Again, he was a junior last year, but these right here are his sophomore highlights. Something that you want to watch for him here, he's very athletic. He puts his hands out there. That was nice. But you see, pushes the guy over, gets to the second level to that number 46 linebacker, lets his running back sprawl to the outside on the left. That's what you want to see out of a kid. You want to see that he knows where to go. That's just insane. He's just pummeling these kids. But you want to know that he knows where to go. Once you go off your first block, where do you go next? And every single time you watch him, he knows just what to do. That right there, another pancake block. Just stiffs the guy for 5 yards and does not let go of him. Or I don't want to say let go of him, but he sticks right to him. It also shows he has a great blocking technique. Right here, again, for a lot of these guys that are the top players in the country in the trenches, unless they're going against another elite athlete, you are not going to see them. But you're not going to see guys give them a lot of pushback. But with that being said, if you are a real elite player at the level you are currently on, you are looking as such. I mean, you see him right there. Oh my, that's perfect. Oh, I want to rewind this because this is just the football nerd in me that I caught. So right here, you see that guy, this guy right here that he's blocking. He turned his back. That's what you want to do as an offensive lineman. You want to get that your back turned towards the hole and have the guy facing that way. And he does a great job of that right there. Again, these are his sophomore highlights. Just to remind you, these are his sophomore highlights. He is very, very. You can tell him this. He's ahead of it. He's ahead of schedule. So and that's why I really, really, really want to watch his junior year highlights because I have to assume and rightly assume that his junior year highlights are much better than what we saw in his sophomore year. They have to be. And in his sophomore year highlights, as you're watching right now, he's advanced. He's very advanced. So yeah, man, Ohio State recruiting right now. A lot of people for some odd reason within the fan base thought that recruiting would take a downturn after last season for some odd reason with NIL, and then again the conversation of NIL came back up this year, and what? Nothing, nada. So that's it for the Ohio State recruiting. Again, the players, if you guys missed it, if you're just not watching, Jimmy Callis, Taylor Mayo, Rashad Streets, Monshu Sales, and Quay Ford. Again, everybody, if you have not already, please go ahead and hit the like button. If you like the content that myself, Mike, or Mark Rogers brings you at Ohio State, the Voice of College Football, please subscribe to the channel. If you would like to become a member, again, we do not beg for money, everybody. But if you would like to monetarily help our network, you can go ahead and hit the bottom right there. You see hit the join button on the bottom of the screen. You can see our 3 tiers, that being the Block O Club. JT wasn't short because we all know that he wasn't, and we don't give a damn. And you know the rest of that. So next, everybody, we talked about this earlier in the show. I said that we were going to get to this. We're going to talk about stock up and stock down for Ohio State position groups. Now, also, I do want to say this. I had a question. This is also going to be the question of the day for you guys. So I want to see what your opinions are on this also. What positions do you believe got better or got worse or stayed the same? What were like the 3 or the main position that you are either maybe worried about, maybe or intrigued about because maybe you think it's going to get better this season? What are the positions that you think coming to this year are going to get better or get worse? So I'm going to pull up what I had, and hey, if you disagree, let loose. Let me know. I am not perfect. I strive to be in my own ways in life, and so I don't want you guys to kill me for my list or my breakdown of this. Okay, just be a little nice. That's all I ask out of you. Kindness goes a long way. But let's get to this here. Position stock up, position stock down. This is what I have, and we're going to go by this systematically. And we're going to start with quarterback. For me, I said stock up. And the reason for stock up here, I think, is kind of self-explanatory. Julian's back in his second season. Last year was a redshirt freshman, had a spectacular year. Of course, there are still things that he can work on, but for a redshirt freshman, he was in New York City. I think for anyone to discredit Julian Sanders or harp on him as if he didn't have a great year is wrong. As a redshirt freshman, you don't just end up in New York City at the Heisman ceremony. So there's that, and then also Tavian Sinclair behind him. I think that him coming in there or being in there and having a chance to do what Julian did, which is in terms of watching Will Howard, a guy that's had experience. He got to sit back and watch one of the best quarterbacks in college football last year and learn from him and also from Ryan Day and the rest of that staff. And now he has Arthur Smith in that room along with Bailey, but you have Arthur Smith now, an NFL coach, who can also help him progress in his football career. So that's that for quarterback. I have stock up. Running back, I have stock up, and it's not just because of Isaiah West and of course Lamar Bo Jackson coming back. Um, Turbo Rogers sat down last season, redshirted, came in late to the team, but and maybe honestly, I don't know if James Peoples or CG Donaldson probably would have been better than him last year. But he is was one of the top running backs coming out of high school. A top 10 running back, was of course an Alabama commit, one of the most sought after running backs out of high school and players. And now we get to have him come in this year as a redshirt freshman for Ohio State. I think that with the injury that we know that has gone on, the shoulder surgery, that Ohio State running backs West and Bo Jackson are going to have, I think that what happens in this spring with Turbo Rogers, and if he has progressed or seeing how much he progressed, is going to play huge for this Ohio State team. On top of that, you bring in Jacoby Jackson out of Florida. He's a senior this year, transfer, a redshirt senior, so he's in his 5th year, coming off of an injury. I don't have many expectations for him. If he's able to come in and be a serviceable running back, I think that's huge. But he's going to be one of those other players that this spring we're going to have to watch, because Ryan Day and them already said our 2 top guys, Bo, West, they're not going to be there to start the season. Or I'm sorry, they're not going to be there for the spring. So I think for guys like them, it's going to be huge. And then also true freshman Legend Bay, who is someone that I think needs to be watched in this spring also, because I think there's a good chance that if he's just that much with the athletic ability that he has, mind you, he's going to have to learn how to block. He's got to learn how to be a running back. Now, he has a skill set to be a running back. Full stop. He has all that. But there are other things, like other intricacies in the game you had to learn. I don't think he has to learn how to read blocks. I don't think he needs to learn how to set up blocks. I don't think he needs to learn how to stiff arm, how to juke, none of that stuff. But if you can't block, you are an unplayable player, especially at the running back position. Now, I also think he's going to be able to be used at the wide receiver spot. I think they're going to try and use him like Braxton Miller was used in 2015. I think that's what they're going to try and do with Legend Bay. So again, but the running back room as a whole, I'm putting stock up. I think the running back room today is better than it was last season. So there's that. Next, we have wide receiver. I feel like I had to sneeze. Excuse me. So wide receiver, I have staying the same. Oh, hey, thanks, Jam. I appreciate that. You are late again. But yeah, this is a new head I bought. This is from Interlocking Golf Course. Was up there this weekend playing some virtual golf, so that was really, really cool. Hey man, shout out to my guy Montana. OHIO. Montana also says, well, to be fair, a lot of the D line isn't built tough anymore. That's fair. That's fair. And we're in Montana, we're gonna get to that here in a little bit. We're gonna talk about this here in a second when we get to the defense in terms of stock up, stock down. But yeah, I do somewhat agree with you on that. I just talked about Turbo. I just did. Are you Jam? Are you not? Come on, Jam. You like, I know you call yourself grandma, but you're not a grandma. Come on. But yeah, I think for the wide receiver room though, getting back to this, all right, I think leaving Cardin. Oh, Jam, you only missed. I talked about him like 10 seconds ago, but there's a big loss in losing Carnell Tate, because I think Carnell Tate Was one of the I thought he was a top 3 wide receiver last year in college football. So there's a loss in that, a big loss in that. Um, with that, so I took down a notch for that. That's what would have told me that the wide receiver room isn't better than it was last year. But this is everything. I'm very very. I took a lot of things into account for this wide receiver thing. I believe that the wide receiver room going into this season, as it's currently constructed, is better than what it would have been had we had none of those guys transfer in and we kept the guys who transferred out. I truly believe that. I think that don't get me wrong, dude. Like, yes, losing the guys we lost like Graham and Quincy and QB and Quincy Porter, yeah, that sucks. With that being said, you brought in a guy in Kyle Parker out of LSU who has proven production, and even LSU fans will tell you he's a guy. He's one of those guys you want on the football field. You bring in Devin McEwen, who has 3 years of proven production and has best season last year. Almost half of his college production in 3 years is based off of last year, and in his freshman and sophomore year, he actually did really good. You bring in Jaquan Gilford. You bring in Chris Henry Jr. You have Phillip Bell still, who I think is a guy that we should definitely watch. You have Brandon Ennis. A guy that I think a lot of people just look over, Desi Jones. I think he's I really want to see what he looks like coming to this year. I think he's an under the radar type of player. Desi Jones is, who was a freshman last season, I believe. Yeah, he was a freshman last season. So definitely want to see that. But yeah, I think the wide receiver room is better this year. I think they're definitely more versatile. I think they can do more things. So yeah, that's why I'm really really looking forward to seeing. Next, tight end. It has to go down. It has to go down. Now you have Nate Roberts coming back. You bring in Hunter Welching, who is one of the best players in the portal, not just tight ends, in the whole portal. Of all the thousands of players that were in the portal, he was the number 56 player. So you do have him, but you lose Max Clare, you lose Kazmarek. And to be honest, I think Kazmarek made himself a lot of money this year. I thought that towards the end of the season, he was actually playing better than Max Clare was because he's not the route runner or receiver that Max Clare is, but Max Clare is nowhere near the blocker he is. And he also smaller than him. So there's that. You have Mason Williams. It's still it's a tight room, but I think that's why you had to go get Hunter Welching, because you knew that even though you have talented guys in there like Nate Roberts, you need to have guys in there that are experienced, that that can block and receive the ball and have shown it on a high level, on the D1 level, right? So yeah, there we go. Tight end definitely dropped down there. Next, offensive line up, full blown up, and this is strictly because they bring back everybody. They bring back everybody. And so I think just based off that alone, and also, I mean, shout out to the guys over at Blake. Oh, it's Blake and Breaker Sulo and shit. Can't think of it right now. But they both had Ohio State's offensive line, their top 5 offensive lines coming into this season. So that was really cool. Other people around the nation, even one's a Notre Dame fan, one's an SEC guy, they even see that. So that's really cool. Next here, we're going to go defense. Defensive tackle, drop down. Now, I think this is just simple math. If I could have, I would take Caden McDonald over James Smith and John Walker out of UCF. I would take him over both of them. Now, John Walker out of UCF, 6'4", 330 pounds, really good player, big man. One thing you notice when you watch him in his highlights, he's bigger than everybody. That's one thing you do notice. And he stands out and he's very strong. That's what you also notice. He plugs the hole very hard or well. Pause. Big pause. And then James Smith, he had a decent year last year at Alabama. Was a rotational guy, put up some decent numbers, but as he wasn't K McDonald last year, and mind you, he was one of the best players, one of the most coveted players coming out of high school when he did come into college football. So there's a lot of talent there. What you're hoping is that you can see John Walker take a big step in his development, but for James Smith to do the same under Larry Johnson. Because if Larry Johnson can tap into what James, we're going to talk about another guy too, but if he can tap into what James Smith can be, then I think you're talking about getting a K McDonald or maybe something more. He's not as big as K Mac, but he's got the talent and the athletic ability to be great. Next is and also on top of that, I mean, look, Edric has to be better this season. Um, he wasn't bad last year. Edric was he's a pretty good player last year. But again, the expectations. Will Smith Jr. We expect more out of you coming this year. You had flashes last year. I talked to Will Smith Jr. up a lot last year, but you have to continuously progress. And what he was, even though he had flashes, he couldn't show consistency. This year, all you need is consistency out of him. You don't need him to be a game wrecker. You don't need him to be great. You need him to be consistently serviceable so that when we put you out there, we know you can do your job and do it pretty well. At the edge position, I had stock up. One, Kenyatta Jackson Jr. came back. That is what it is. I think he's gonna be. I think for Kenyatta, what you're looking for is the JTT Jack Sawyer thing, right? You're looking in your senior season for you to take that leap. Last year was pretty good, was pretty decent. He wasn't even as good as JTT was his junior year, or even close to that. But I did think he had a good year, especially late throughout the season. We want to see him progress in the run game a little bit better, a run defense a little bit better. He wasn't bad at it, but he's pretty decent at it. But you want to see him be good to really good, and hopefully great. Zion Grady, I think he's going to be the best defensive end on this team next year. I think, based off what I saw from him last year, he's still looking like a high school player. I thought Zion Grady fit the mold, and I thought that hell or high water, if we need, say, if an injury happened, we could put him out there and be very comfortable with it. Also, I think we in Quay Russo, that was huge. Another guy that you want to see if Larry Johnson can tap into the potential he has. And then last but not least, Epi Sinatelli. Epi, very athletic, stupid athletic guy. He has size to him. He's not tiny. So a lot of those guys in that room need to prove themselves. Honestly, I would say everybody in that room needs to prove themselves, but I do think this is going to be an upgrade from last season at that position. Next is linebacker. What else is there to say but stock down? There's no other way. There's no way you could spin this to say that the linebacker unit is better this season. Now, Peyton Pierce played a lot last year. He's gonna be he's gonna be starting more than likely. I would expect Riley Pettyjohn to start and then Christian Allegro to come in and out. Now, the depth at this position, I do think, is something to talk about. Again, you had Pettyjohn, you got Pierce, you got Allegro, you got Tarvis Alford, someone that you should not look over. Another one of those freaky, athletic, huge linebackers Ohio State has. Garrett Stover is still at Ohio State. So there's a lot of guys in that room that I think have potential. But I think coming to this season, what you want to see is, okay, Peyton Pierce, can you be a guy that can lead this defense from the linebacker position? That's what we need to see out of him. Last year, again, another guy that showed flashes, and that's what you want to see in your freshman and sophomore year. So that going to your junior year, I mean, maybe even earlier now, you want to see flashes your freshman year, do some of your sophomore year, and be big in your junior year. But everyone doesn't follow that timeline, right? So for him, you just want to see, can you lead that defense? For a guy like Riley Pettyjohn, We got flashes out of him his freshman year. This is the year where I expect Riley Pettyjohn to be a game wrecker. We're going to talk about another guy here in a little bit, but I think there's a really good chance for Ohio State in each level of the defense, from D line to linebacker to the secondary, for each of them, for each positional unit, for its best players to be true sophomores, guys that were freshmen last year and played a lot. And I think Riley Pettyjohn is definitely gonna be one of those guys. So yeah, man. I think the linebackers will be good, but definitely stock down there. Next, we're just gonna lump in the whole DB group, and I have it as even. I think Ohio State secondary is going to be one of the best in the country. I think it will be top 5 in the country. Jermaine Matthews, of course, comes back. Last year, he had tailed 2 seasons. The first half was out there being beginning the first half of the season. Jermaine Matthews looked like one of the best corners in college football. The last half, it didn't look the same. So who's calling me? So you just want to see him make that consistency jump into his senior year. Devin Sanchez, I think he will be the best DB on this team next year. Sky's the limit for a kid like him. We already know what Devin Sanchez is. Don't need to go any further on that. Terry, I'm sorry. Nope. Forgetting guy. Next, Earl Little Jr., transfer out of Florida State. More than likely, he's going to be the nickel guy, but I do think they're going to rotate guys in and out at that position. When you got a guy like Dominic Kelly, I do think you have to get him on the field too. He's another true sophomore, but a guy that played a lot last year over at Georgia, where he transfers from. Another guy Georgia fans will tell you is a guy, like a player that you want on your team. But you look at, I think Earl is going to be great at that position, in that spot as nickelback, be around the ball a lot, try to make a lot of plays as he did last year for Florida State. You also bring back Jalen McClain, who I thought was one of the best safeties in the Big Ten, if not one of the best safeties one of the best safeties in the country, if not one of the best safeties in the Big Ten last year. Was an all Big Ten player. I think that we're looking for him to make that go to the NFL jump. Because he's one of those guys that flashed his freshman year, true freshman season. Last year as a true sophomore, looks really damn good. And now you're looking for this third season as junior year, where you're trying to see it all come together. And then lastly, Terry Moore out of Duke was injured last year, didn't play, but he's probably going to be one of the more impactful transfers that we have on this team. I think I think if Terry Moore can get back to what he was the year prior in 2024, that this secondary is going to be, especially what Matt Patricia likes to do with the secondary, it's going to be a tough day for everybody. Now, we did lose Davis Igbinosun, of course. We lost Caleb Downs. So just based off that, I can't, and yeah, we lost guys in the portal. Again, I'm sifting through this saying, do I think we're better today than we would have been had no one transferred out and we didn't get the guys we got? Yes. But you are going to go stock down when you lose Davis Igbinosun, when you lose arguably the best player at his position in this upcoming draft in Caleb Downs as a safety. And then lastly, everybody, look, kicker, punter, upgrade. Hawkins, upgrade. Riggs, upgrade. I'm really happy about that, to see that Ohio State definitely went and took special teams serious this time in the portal. And this time we just try to get guys who weren't really proven, like we did with McLarty last year, who was a punter who has a big leg out of Australia. But we went and got guys that have done at the collegiate level, that have made big kicks, that are very consistent at what they do, and we brought them into Columbus. Well, everybody, that is tonight's show. And actually, to end it real quick, everybody, I did want to bring this up. if you want to see something really cool, and I think this is just um something to notice around the Big Ten. I just want to quickly share this with you. Um, and also because why would I not show our friends over at FanDuel? But over on FanDuel right now, everyone, and if you don't right now, you should definitely go make a account over there. You must be 21 years old or over to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But if you look right here, look, I count this. Ohio State has 5 guys in the top, I think 15 or so, who are in the top odds for the Heisman. I mean, number 1, you have Josh Hoover at Indiana. Then you got Julian Stanton, of course, for Ohio State. Dante Moore from Oregon. Go a little bit further down, you got Jaden Maeva over at USC. And surprisingly, you have Bryce Underwood right here at plus 300, same odds as John Mateer right now. And then if you go a little bit further, you got Damon Williams Jr. and then you got Rocco Becht. I mean, if you just look at what the Big Ten is doing now, this season, I mean, I thought we did last year too, but this season, Ohio State, the Big Ten, without a doubt, is coming into the season with the best quarterback play in the country, especially at the top half. And even if you look at the bottom half, there are a lot of colleges right now who will pick Nico Iamaleava, I am not a believer, over their current quarterback. Like, if Nico were to hit the portal today, or had he hit the portal this past week, the last few months, he would have been one of the top quarterbacks on the market. And that's a fact. Even after everything that happened, he would have been. So I mean, yeah, man, this just goes to show you how much more competitive the Big Ten is now and just where it's going. And it's honestly, for me, it's really exciting to see. It's really exciting to see because I think when you have, I like seeing high leverage football games in conference. Yeah, some people like taking the easy road. You know, they want to see the Wolverines be 0-11 when they see them. Not me. I want you 11-0 so I can beat you for it all. I want you there with something to lose. It's kind of like what my uncle told me way back. Garrison, you don't date girls who don't have nothing to lose. And I feel the same way about when it comes to playing games in college football. Well, everybody, that is tonight's show. Everyone, again, thank you for joining tonight. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. Go ahead and share this on your Facebook, all your social media. Let's grow the community here at Ohio State, the voice of college football. Mike and I will be back on Wednesday late night, so please be there. And then we'll also be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. for the call-in show. Please come there, bring your questions, bring your comments, and most definitely call in and talk college football with us. And then also catch Mark Rogers at 11 for Ohio State Buckeyes live. That's 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Everybody, thank you again for being here tonight. Again, like, share, subscribe to the channel. And as always, my friends, OH, IO.